the last 50 years in this country, there's just been ever more concentration of wealth and power among the people who already got plenty of wealth and plenty of power.
Being a foreigner living in Britain, I think people should really go for a global strike here because the government is taking the piss.
It's the utter ineptness of the government that has to be bailed out by the Bank of England. Who heard of the Bank of England bailing out its own government before?
Money just being ripped away from public services, like they're just getting their pockets lined with their friends, their ex-workers.
All the governments are taking the piss in Europe or in the world at the moment, but this one is really pushing, really, from a foreign point of view, it's crazy.
And for the rest of us, especially the most marginalised, more pain, more pressure, more powerlessness.
It's just taking advantage of people, and I'm still learning about it, but even I, as 17, can just see it's disgusting what's happening.
Crazy why people are not getting more mad in England, they're getting ripped off to an extent which is incredible.
Why are you here?
Well, I've come here to support the strikes with the RMT and the postal workers, but not only that, it's to support workers, to unite with the workers and to say to the government and the fat cats that we don't stand for this any longer.
Way too much hardship in this country, given that we're one of the richest countries in the world. It's a disgrace. 48% of people in Hackney have grown up in poverty after housing costs in one of the wealthiest cities in the world. Something urgently needs to change.
Hey, this is public money. This is money that should be shared equally. And this is a statistic I heard from the Comedians Workers Union that I just thought was insane. 56% of people in poverty are in working homes. Like if you speak to a lot of people that use in food banks, they are working. A working society shouldn't have people in work that are having to use food banks and get free food.
What are they doing? Taking money from future generations of taxpayers, my grandchildren, your grandchildren. It is outrageous, in order to reduce the tax of the rich. And why? To incentivise the rich. And why take the money from the low paid? To incentivise them to, on what planet do these people live?
You as a young person, if you could say one thing to Liz Truss, what would it be?
I wouldn't really want to say anything to her. I wouldn't want to be within her vicinity because what she's doing is just disgusting. Her politics have changed so much. I don't really think she stands for anything anyway. So I'm never going to change her mind. I don't think anyone is, because she just is constantly flitting about.
Being a parent is hard. I'm dripping with privilege, but it's very hard for me. For those with a lot less privilege, being a parent is nigh on impossible. And again, that's because of how the country is organised.
It's just like a basic right that people should be able to heat their homes, have a decent standard of living and be able to feed their family, and that's not happening.
It is absolutely outrageous. So I'm really hoping that this will be the beginning of a mass movement that will overturn the current regime and give us socialism on earth today.
The lack of affordable childcare, the lack of an adequate welfare state. So we're not doing well for parents, we're not doing well for kids, and it doesn't have to be that way.
Energy bills are going up, are shooting up today. I don't know how far it's going to go up, no one knows. People will not put on their heat because they can't afford to. People will be using food banks, as they've already said.
I feel solidarity for all the people that are on strike today, because it's supporting everyone. We got so many of our liberties and our rights as workers from strike action historically. So that is something that should be protected. And if these people can't afford to put food on the tables and they're working like 40 plus hours a week, something's not working.
And a lot of people feeling helpless, and a lot of people feeling very guilty. A lot of people who have the capacity to be amazing parents suffering and then feeling really guilty because they feel like they're failing, when the reality is that there's not adequate support for them.
Can you tell me about your food bank? Was it busy this morning?
Oh yeah, it's been outrageous. The food bank was established in 1617, this particular one, so it's a very young food bank, but it provides 85% of the emergency food in Camden. So it's massive. Wow. And when the first year we had 3,000 clients, this last year we had 25,000.
25,000?
Yeah. and they come in like 300 households a week.
Wow.
Come. So this month, I'm expecting that to double.
There are more food banks in this country than there are McDonald's, and what does that say about a country like ours? And more importantly, people will struggle, and this isn't fair. And today we have seen 10,000 people or more have said no longer, enough is enough. We need to fight together. We need to stop this happening, and we need to make these Tories and these fascists, as far as I'm concerned, stop ruining our country and stop destroying our country, and let the people have the country back.
Unemployment is at an all-time low. People are in work. People are working. Many people are working 2 jobs, and they can't provide properly, and they're still having to rely on charities and communities to support them and help put food on the table, help to subsidise their income, because the work that they're doing, the hours that they're putting in, it's not equating to what's in their bank and what they can have in their pocket.
I think it's important because I think what the campaign is able to do is bring together wide-ranging solidarity. It's an anti-racist movement, it's an anti-poverty movement, it's a movement about the environment, it's a movement about energy, and that's what we need, because too often these things are segmented, and actually there's a lot of solidarity to be had because a lot of people are on the same page about these issues.
So here, people are refusing to pay their bills. That's what this is about. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. If a lot of people, the thing is, the more people do something, the more they can sort of avoid to have bad personal consequences on it. So I think it's a good idea because they're really getting ripped off. I mean, plus 400, plus 200% or something like that is just mad.
What would you say to Liz Truss if you had a moment with her?
To go and do something else and leave our country alone.
I'm someone who's done the things I was supposed to do. I worked hard at school, I got a job. It's not paid for me to have the lifestyle and to give my kids the lifestyle that I was led to believe they would. The social contract's broken, so they're not going to play by the rules. Why should we all play by the rules?
Incrementally, I imagine we'll get 400 and then 500. And what we've done, people sort of said, so what are you doing to prepare for the cost of living catastrophe that this government has created? Or not only created, but failed to solve. And I said, we're moved to larger premises. And that's exactly what we've done.